Who do you think you are?
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 Who do you think you think?
Who do you think you are?
What do you think you do?
Who do you think you do?
What do you think
What
you're
do you
doing?
think
What do you think
What
you're
do you
doing?
think you're doing?
What do you think you're doing?
Why do you think
Why
you're doing?
do you think you're doing?
Why do you think you're doing? Why do you think
Why
you're
do you
doing?
think
Why
you're
do
doing?
you
Why
think
does it
you're
matter?
doing?
What does it matter anyway?
What does it matter? What does it matter?
What does it matter anyway?
What does it matter anyway?
Who do you think you are?
Well, I think I'm a female member of the human race, traveling between birth and death. One learns as one goes along. I think to live a long time is helpful because you can look back and see what has made you what you are. I've got to keep myself going and try to widen my ideas, not get into a shell of my old received ideas which haven't changed, and so I'm very keen to change. My husband said that the important thing in life was curiosity, and if you give up being curious, if you give up trying to take in new ideas and just go back into your own tape which runs around your head all the time, you're a bit lost.
Who do I think I am? I guess a voyager, a traveler, something passing by, kind of like, I don't know, a leaf in a river or something. Just part of a process which is moving. As I change and develop and learn things and see things, my own perception changes, so it's kind of a voyage through that perception and through the different perceptions. So it's such a mix. I mean, and it all goes back to that same thing of traveling through something, a big, long, moving process. Self-perception is kind of both an internal thing, in my opinion, and a reflection from what you see, how other people react to you and other things around you. So it's, in some ways, right, okay, I look down and I see my body from inside, but also I have to, in order to get a proper view, I have to, look at a mirror. So there's the two sides. Internally, I can shut my eyes, close my ears, I hear the blood going through my head, and I can think about my own responses, my own history, but at the same time, I establish an image by how other people react.
I've approached that question in a number of ways, and in the course of my life, who do I think I am? In any important sense, I have just a big question mark for that. I don't know. I used to wonder when I was a kid, how come I wound up in this body with this mother, in this home, in this family, and what would have happened if that hadn't, where would I be then? Who is me anyway? So I've tried to answer the question in terms of mechanical or scientific terms, like I'm so tall and been living for so long and have these thoughts and these behaviors and so on. But I think the real question, which is always there for me, lingering in the background, who am I, who do I think I am, is unanswered and profoundly mysterious, like most of the real questions that I ask.
Who do I think I am? I'm everything and I'm nothing. I'm responsive. I'm open. I'm loving. I am filled with judgment. It's important to reflect on all of those elements that make up who I am in particular, and to consciously make a decision to keep the things that I think are working and to get rid of the things that aren't. And that's, I guess, in essence, where the nothing comes in. Sometimes you have to sort of reinvent yourself just to be a better person, to do better, to know better, to learn from.
One of the things that defines me as a person is asking myself who I am, constantly reassessing the image I have of myself. That's why the question may be a bit of a mind masturbating thing, right? We might just be constantly asking ourselves and wondering and trying to define ourselves and who we are and who we want to be, but really we should just be, right?
Who do I think I am? Well, I used to be Brian Longstaff, but now I'm Barney Long because I made a decision about 10 years ago that I didn't care for who I was. The sense to me that Brian Longstaff was a kind of box, a prison, that I couldn't break out of. And if I gave myself a different name, if I chose my own name, I could make myself whoever I wanted to be. But I didn't think that I could do that with my name as it was.
What do you think you're doing? What do you think you're doing?
What do you think you're doing?
My vocation is basically what I identify myself as. When I was 7, I was shy and I discovered acting, and it changed who I was. Even though it was fake at first, it was an invented confidence, but that confidence built my personality. Then 10 years after, when I was 17, and I discovered writing, that was the same thing happened again. It was a completely different, it was more of an intellectual thing rather than a confidence thing. And now, moving more towards actual full creation, like directing, producing, whatever, it's upsetting because I want to do everything. I really do. I just don't feel like I can devote enough time or energy to any one thing to make it work properly.
There's no difference between play and work. It's what I do. My work is to play, to create. That's what I do. It doesn't matter whether I'm a dad or a husband or a teacher or a director or an actor or a cook. It's all about what I do. I like getting older. I like being older. I like having the next birthday. And I want to get to the point where I no longer have to consciously think about the act of playing at any time. That I'm just so fully immersed in what I'm doing all the time that my appetite is filled. I am full from everything that I do.
There's the whole thing, I think, therefore I am. Well, I guess I've always believed more I do, therefore I am, Do we have to know that we exist to exist? Well, do plants know they exist? I don't know. Maybe. That they grow and breathe. Do rocks know they exist? No. But they shift over time. Does the earth know it exists? Is sentience existence? I think the fact that the question is there is the answer.
Variety is enormously important in life. Again, I'm quoting my husband. He said you should have at least 2 careers. He had 3, in order to use other things which you're not using in the one. I think that's the only way to be happy, to be using your possibilities. I think the body has a huge input. It has its own instinct, its way of doing. In women, when you have babies, it's incredible what the body will do. You don't know what's going on, and you have to go along with it. You have to give over to it. We are balancing our physical selves in how we live, eat, exercise, or whatever. They're balancing your health. You're balancing your beliefs, your morals, your urges, your passions. Life is like walking a tightrope, and you're balancing all the time. Particularly your passions and your fears.
What I think I'm doing is keeping myself entertained during the course of my life, and contributing in the course of that to that body of human knowledge, perception, insight. The things I do assist me in discovering what I am, more than a sense of that I am creating what I am as I go. But without question, I have to agree that that's true as well.
do you think
Why do you
you're
think you're doing it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows. I think what happens in the world is absolutely random. I do not believe in a superior being controlling events. I don't believe in a superior being at all. I just think that, acts of violence, war, catastrophe are just random events. And I just happen to have avoided all of them. That's all. And just stumbled from one fortunate incident to another. I don't own anything. I have never owned a car. I've never owned a house. When I die, I will have a bank account of less than $1 in it. I'm just floating on the surface of things, and that's what I've always done.
You know, the big things that happen in my life don't seem to have happened for a big reason. They were just accidental.
It tends to keep swinging back to the same spot, and I guess sort of that same spot is somewhere on a spiritual level. It all adds up to sort of filling the void and to exploring that void and beauty and the pain that we sort of share. It's the greatest motivator.
The transition that I'm trying to make now is from collecting brownie points, which has been my idea of good for a large portion of my life. Being good would be getting a grade A from God and getting a grade A from my neighbors and getting a grade A from my teachers and getting a grade A from my students, and all the people around me would all say, "You've done it. You accomplished this right goal." And ultimately, of course, it would be some mysterious cosmic book in the sky that would mark me down as having been good. And I'm beginning to realize that there is no such book, and I've been essentially chasing a chimera all this life, and that there in that path I've kind of discovered something else, which is that some of the things that I do seem worthwhile and good in themselves for reasons I don't really understand or understand only in a pre-verbal way.
Our time here, it sounds like a hackneyed phrase, but is to make a difference. And if it's to make a difference in making a garden look beautiful or raising a child to be a loving, caring individual. I used the term mentor earlier on. The more I know, the more I experience, the more I want to share that with younger people in the hope that, not that I will prevent them from having their own experiences, but that perhaps I can help them skip through a few steps so that they might get to the place I'm at faster and therefore make more time to make more changes.
Identity determines behavior. What you do can change who you are. But I think your identity is what comes first.
I have to do things that I feel very strongly are the right things for me to be doing. So for me, the vita activa has been very important as a way of countering a tendency which I know exists in me towards depression, giving up, feeling hopeless. And so I've found myself really welcoming challenges because they keep me growing, and I like to be able to prove that things are possible.
What does it matter anyway?
It doesn't matter.
Probably it doesn't matter very much,
Not much matters. Like, really not
I don't think
much.
anything that I do really matters.
Does it matter?
In the great scheme of things.
Not much.
To history, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, in the life and death of the universes.
To me and the people whom I care about and who are in my life, it matters a great deal.
Of galaxies. What the hell does it matter?
It matters for the moment.
It matters like being one grain of sand on a beach.
But obviously it has to matter, doesn't it? because we are here.
But you know, each individual grain makes a difference.
It matters because we're here. Yeah, it matters to me because I'm here.
It's a gift of nature. You love it. What is it all about?
Humans need to create that answer. Why? To feel secure and stable in an ever-changing world, society, universe.
It matters to me because I get tremendous enjoyment when I'm doing what makes sense to me to do.
What does it matter? One likes to think that we're trying to leave the world a better place than it was before we came. There should be, I think, some satisfaction knowing that we had some influence.
I am a small, very tiny part of the universe whose function on that level is to create where I am and in the time I am.
People make up what matters, right? They have to like make it up. But do I have things that matter to me? Yes, a whole lot of things. And I wish I'd have less things that would matter to me.
I do believe that humanity has the intrinsic capability to be good to itself and good to the world. I don't think we're doing it very well right now, and I think all through history we haven't done it very well. But something in me strongly believes we need to think much more in a family sense about the world as a whole. We can't function in isolation.
When I look at the world and my ultimate thoughts about it, I'm actually not thinking it's going to go that well. Like, I don't know if humans will be able to survive and not make themselves extinct. I think that, the world just sees things on a lot longer timeline than we do.
The Earth is so old. I mean, it's okay, even if it's just 4 billion years old. 4 billion years old. And yet, in a small amount of time, look at what humanity has done. Okay, it's done some despicable, horrible things. But, I mean, it's managed to achieve a certain state which, is self-aware. It's aware that it's hurting itself. Okay, perhaps it's in denial, but it's not in ignorance, right? So even if it is all insignificant, there really is some amazing things we can do. So why not do it? I mean, we have this potential.
The course of human events over the course of many lifetimes, or even a single lifetime, is just baffling to the great philosophers, the great psychologists, and certainly to me. So, the question of whether it's important is almost a non-question, because who knows what's really important when who knows what the basic ground rules are in the first place? If we don't know what's going on, how can we know what's important? And my feeling is that we don't know what's going on.
It's like we're hardwired to compete. If that's the way it is, then isn't what's happening in the world right now the ultimate pinnacle of that heart? We're totally competing. There are visible losers. There are billions of visible losers. I want to save people. The problem is that I don't know if I can. It comes back to the first thing. I can write stories. I can love my family and my friends. I can be outspoken. I can try to get my message out there. I can try to reach out and find like-minded people. And I can just not get jaded, not become stagnant. Change the world. Somehow.
The choice you make is where you want to do what you're doing. You can either think that you're put here on earth by some power which expects you to do good rather than evil, or you can feel, without that sense of religion, that you're here to help people or to make their lives better. And although perfectibility is a rather Victorian idea, I don't think it's lost its basic value. You see, to say, why are we here? You can't just live and breathe. You have to live and breathe and have your being. It's making your being, just the essence, into actions. And the world would not have progressed at all, even assuming it has progressed, without people doing things, inventing things, trying things, generally doing what I'm suggesting they do, which is take the body of knowledge that there is and shape it to go further on for the good of humanity, and you in the middle of it.